Feudal Craft. I spent 2 hours managing medieval peasants with the self-preservation instincts of a chocolate fireguard and a much lower IQ. They wouldn't chop a second tree without being told, they'd stand by a river full of fish and just not fish, and when bandits roll in, they'd carry on walking past them with their arms full of wood, getting shot full of arrows. The honest version of those 2 hours is I almost gave up inside the first one. I couldn't read the controls, I didn't know what I was meant to be aiming for, and kept building things that did nothing useful. Feudal Craft puts Rimworld and Timberborn on its Steam relevance panel for me, with 181 hours and 36 hours on record respectively, and both of those I really enjoy. You start off with a noble. My noble was called Smelters Deltas, because the face creator gave him a face that looked like he'd smelt a fart, and he was the only bright spot in the first hour really. Lesson 1 was harsh. I built a forge, gathered my started iron and leather, and tried to make a sword for my first warrior. Crafting has a failure chance, which I'm normally fine with, except it failed 4 times in a row and chewed through every resource I'd been given to start with. There was no path back from that, so I just restarted the whole run. On a second run, I worked out the shape. You start with a noble, 1 peasant in a town centre. Built houses for more peasants, warrior huts for the warriors to live in, a forge for weapons, an armoury for armour, a farm, a mill. Then you send the peasants off to chop trees, fish in the river, mine stone, or work the cliff mines. The cliff mines are tricky because the cliff has to have a tiny crack drawn in it, and the cracks aren't obvious. Only spotted one because pressing M brings up a full screen map that showed the mine icon on the cliff I'd already walked past. A mini-map running all the time would have been helpful. The art is hand-drawn with no I used badge stamped on the front, and the bits that look a little bit dopey hopefully have the excuse, because real medieval portraits are full of weirdly standing people pulling faces. What the second round made obvious was that the chocolate fireguard pattern goes deeper than the 3 things from the open. My town centre is a tower with walls and it looks like a small castle. My instinct was that peasants should retreat into it when the village was under attack. They never did. It's because that's not what the building can do. They can't enter it, as they stand around in the open getting hit until they fall over. And that's a build and visually promising shelter without really delivering any. I also lost a settlement to starvation, which was kind of on me. You collect food as fish, wheat and meat, but none of it counts as food until you click convert to food in the town centre. I'd missed the prompt, so they starved. After that, I got my noble to a church, paid 100 gold, and he became a knight. And then I couldn't work out what was next, other than maybe become a baron, but it didn't really explain how I became one. While trying to work out how to become a baron, I decided it made logical sense that I just kill the current baron. So I kept skipping his payments, in the thought that he'd turn up to try and collect. And I started to build my own army. 10 guys with swords and shields ready to settle this on my own terms. I stopped paying and waited. And then a pop-up appeared. It told me the baron had arrived with a huge army, I'd given up and was now in prison. No fight, just a notification telling me I'd already lost, which was mildly disappointing and was the end of my time with the game. The demo is now live. Full release is planned for 2026 with no specific date. The medieval angle is great and the bones are there, but the peasants being idiots is a massive problem, and Steam has plenty of other colony sims tighter than this. My verdict is a maybe. Check out the next video to see if it could be your new favourite game. I play the demos, you play the hits. I'll see you on the next one.